Have you ever found yourself watching the little ones in your life, maybe your grandchildren, or even a neighbor's child, and thought, wow, things are so different from when I was raising my kids? Maybe you've noticed how fast-paced everything feels now. The constant noise, the screens, the pressure. Or maybe you've caught yourself wondering if you're doing enough, or too much, when you're helping take care of them. If you've ever felt that quiet little doubt creep in, you are not alone. We've all had moments where we ask ourselves, am I really helping, or could I be doing something that might actually hurt in the long run? And that's exactly why this video matters, because as much as we love and want to protect the children in our lives, sometimes the way we care for them, though well-meaning, can actually do more harm than good. Now, I want to be clear about something right from the start. This isn't about blame. This isn't about pointing fingers or making anyone feel guilty. Lord knows we've all done our best, often under stress, and without a guidebook. This is about gently shining a light on the kinds of everyday habits and decisions that can slowly build into problems, and what we can do instead, with love and confidence, to give the children we care about the healthiest, happiest foundation possible. So today, we're going to talk about 4 common mistakes many of us make when caring for kids. Mistakes that can affect their development, their confidence, and even their long-term emotional health. But here's the good news, each of these can be turned around, sometimes with just a few small changes. And those changes? They can make a world of difference. Let's start with something many of us have done at one point or another, trying to protect a child from every possible failure or discomfort. It sounds kind, doesn't it? We don't want to see them sad. We don't want to see them struggle. So we rush in to fix things, tie their shoes for them, carry their backpack, or even do part of their homework just this once. But here's the thing, when we do that too often, we're not helping. We're actually sending a message, without meaning to, that says, I don't think you can do this on your own. And that message? It sticks. It can quietly chip away at a child's confidence. They start to believe they need someone to step in. They become afraid to try, afraid to fail, because they've never had the chance to learn what they're truly capable of. I remember my grandson, maybe 6 years old at the time, trying to zip up his coat one chilly morning. He fumbled and got frustrated, and for a second I felt that urge, that deep, loving urge, to just lean down and do it for him. But instead, I waited. I knelt beside him, gave him a little smile, and said, "You've got this. Take your time." It took him a full minute, but when he finally got that zipper up, the way his face lit up, it was worth every second. That one moment of struggle led to a big burst of pride. And the next day, he zipped it up himself without even blinking. It's not about standing back entirely. It's about choosing the right moments to step in and the right moments to step back. That's how confidence grows, when kids get to practice doing things on their own, with our support just close enough if they need it. Now, the second mistake we sometimes make, especially when life gets busy, is relying too much on screens to keep kids occupied or quiet. Trust me, I get it. Tablets and phones have become the new babysitters. They're convenient, they work fast, and let's be honest, they can keep a child quiet longer than most storybooks ever could. But here's the hidden danger, too much screen time, especially at a young age, can actually change the way a child's brain develops. We're not talking about the occasional cartoon or a quick educational game. We're talking about hours each day where their eyes are glued to a screen instead of playing, imagining, or talking. That's when it starts affecting their attention span, their mood, and their ability to connect with real people in real ways. I remember a day when I was babysitting for a neighbor's little boy. He was maybe 5, full of energy. His mom left me with a tablet to use if things got hectic. And sure enough, about an hour in, he started bouncing off the walls. I thought, okay, let's try the tablet. It calmed him almost instantly, but I could also see something change in his eyes. He went quiet, zoned out, like he disappeared a little. That moment stayed with me. So what do we do instead? We get creative again. We bring back the simple joys, board games, coloring, music, even a walk around the block where you ask them to find something red, something shiny, something noisy. The point isn't to eliminate screens completely. It's to balance them with connection, conversation, and play, the things that truly help children learn, grow, and feel seen. And you know what? Children don't remember the hours they spent in front of a screen. But they will remember the fort you built out of blankets, or the time you baked cookies together, or when you danced in the kitchen just because. Those are the moments that shape a happy, healthy child. Now that we've touched on overhelping and screen time, let's keep going. Because the truth is, those little everyday moments, when we choose connection over convenience, are what make all the difference in a child's life. But let's keep going, because there's another common trap we can fall into, even with the best intentions. It's the mistake of praising kids the wrong way. Now, I know that might sound strange. After all, what could possibly be wrong with giving a child praise, right? But here's where it gets tricky. Sometimes we're so eager to build up their self-esteem, to make them feel special and confident, that we end up praising the wrong things. Things like, "You're so smart," or "You're such a good boy," or "You're perfect." At first glance, that seems loving, encouraging. But over time, that kind of praise can actually backfire. It puts the focus on fixed traits, things a child can't really control. And it teaches them that their worth comes from being something, not doing something. So when they mess up, or struggle with something hard, they might think, "I guess I'm not so smart after all," or worse, "I'm not lovable if I'm not perfect." Instead, what helps kids grow is what's called effort-based praise. That means we focus on what they tried, how they stuck with something, how they treated someone kindly. Things like, "I'm proud of how hard you worked on that," or "You were really patient with your little sister today. That was kind." It's the difference between saying, "You're so talented at drawing," versus, "I love how you kept trying different colors until your picture looked just the way you wanted." One builds ego. The other builds grit. And grit? That's what gets kids through tough times, helps them keep going when something doesn't come easy. That's what we want to nurture. I remember one afternoon with my granddaughter. She was maybe 8, and she'd just written a short story at school. She was beaming when she showed it to me. I read it, and instead of just saying, "This is amazing," I said, "I can tell you really thought about how the story would end. That's not easy. You worked hard on this." Her smile got even bigger, and I could see it clicked. "I'm proud of you because you worked at it, not just because you handed me something pretty." When we give kids that kind of feedback, we're teaching them that their efforts matter. That they don't have to be perfect to be worthy. And in a world where so many kids feel pressure to always be the best, that's a message they desperately need to hear. Now, let's talk about the fourth mistake, and this one can be tough to spot because it often hides in moments when we're simply trying to keep the peace. It's when we ignore or downplay a child's big emotions. You've probably seen it. A child is upset, maybe crying or throwing a small tantrum, and someone says, "You're fine," or "That's nothing to cry about," or even, "Big kids don't act like that." Again, no one says this to be hurtful. We just want to help them feel better and move on. But what really happens is we end up sending the message that their feelings don't matter. That expressing emotions is something to be embarrassed about. But emotions, especially in childhood, aren't something to brush aside. They're signals. They're how kids learn to understand their world and their reactions to it. And when we validate what they're feeling, when we say things like, "I see you're upset," that's okay. It's normal to feel sad when that happens. We're teaching them emotional intelligence. We're showing them that it's okay to feel things, and that they don't have to hide it or push it down. I remember sitting with a little boy I was watching. He just had an argument with his brother, and he was sitting in the corner, arms crossed, face red. I walked over, sat next to him, and instead of saying, "Calm down," I said, "Looks like you're really mad right now." He nodded, tears welling up. "It's okay to feel mad," I told him. "What do you think might help you feel better?" That simple shift, naming the feeling and giving him space, completely changed the tone. He opened up, and within minutes, we were talking it through calmly. That kind of support sticks with kids. It helps them trust that their emotions aren't too big or too scary, and that there are safe, healthy ways to work through them. And the more they practice that with us, the more they'll know how to handle their feelings out in the world. So when we look at all these moments, whether we're stepping in too quickly, relying on screens too much, praising without thought, or brushing off big feelings, they all come from the same place: love. Love that wants to protect, support, and guide. We just sometimes need a little reminding that the best kind of love helps kids grow strong, not just safe. And remember, it's never too late to make a shift. Whether your grandkids are toddlers or teenagers, or you only see them once a month, every moment you have with them is a chance to connect, to model patience, to offer encouragement in ways that stick. Even just one change, like taking a breath before stepping in, or swapping your "so smart" for "you worked hard on that," can plant a seed that grows into something lasting. Now, there's one more piece to this puzzle, and it ties everything together in a way that might surprise you. Now, we're coming to the final point in this conversation, and I think it's one that really ties everything together. It's a mistake that's easy to make, especially when we're juggling the demands of life or trying to keep everything moving smoothly. It's when we prioritize discipline over connection. When you think of discipline, what comes to mind? Most of us probably picture things like timeouts, grounding, or even just being stern when kids misbehave. It's the old "I'm the adult, so listen to me" approach. And yes, kids need boundaries. They need to understand right from wrong, and they need to know that actions have consequences. But here's where we often miss the mark. In our effort to enforce discipline, we can forget the most important thing of all: connection. Think about this. When a child feels connected to you, when they feel understood and supported, they're much more likely to follow through on expectations. They're more likely to listen when you ask them to clean up or finish their homework, not because you're laying down the law, but because they respect you, and because they trust you. But when we focus on discipline alone, when we're only about setting rules and consequences, it can create a divide between us and the kids in our lives. Instead of them learning from us, they start to see us as an authority figure to fear or resist. And that's not the kind of relationship we want, is it? We want them to feel safe to talk to us, to make mistakes and learn from them, and to be guided by love and trust, not just rules and threats. I remember a conversation I had with my daughter years ago when my grandson was going through a rebellious phase. She was getting frustrated because nothing seemed to work, and she said, "I just don't know what to do anymore." And I asked her, "Have you tried just sitting with him?" Not as a parent, but as a person, someone who's there to listen. She was skeptical at first, but the next time they had a disagreement, instead of jumping straight to consequences, she took a step back. She said, "Hey, I know you're upset, and I'm here to listen." And you know what happened? He stopped, looked at her, and they had a real conversation about what was going on. They didn't solve everything right away, but the shift in their connection was obvious. It wasn't about controlling the situation anymore, it was about working through it together. Now, I know not every situation is like that, and there are times when boundaries and structure are important. But the difference here is that discipline isn't the only tool in the toolbox. And when we make sure to connect first, whether through patience, understanding, or just listening, we're giving our kids the confidence to grow and learn in a healthy way. And I think that's the secret ingredient that makes all of these points work. When we take the time to connect first, everything else falls into place. The praise becomes more meaningful. The emotions become easier to understand and navigate. And the moments when we do need to step in, whether to correct behavior, offer guidance, or help them through a hard time, become opportunities for growth, not battles of control. So, as we wrap things up here, let's take a step back and remember, none of us are perfect. We're all learning as we go, and raising children is one of the most rewarding and challenging jobs we can do. But by being mindful of the little things, like slowing down before stepping in, giving praise based on effort, validating their emotions, and fostering connection over discipline, we can help them grow into strong, confident, and emotionally healthy individuals. Now, I know there's a lot to take in here, but don't worry if you don't get everything perfect right away. Just focus on one thing at a time. Maybe start by practicing patience before jumping in to fix things. Or try praising your child's effort instead of focusing on outcomes. Small changes like that can make a huge difference in how your relationship with them grows and how they develop over the years. Remember, every little moment counts. Even if you make a mistake, and trust me, we all do, what matters most is how we get back up and show up for them in the best way we can. You have the power to guide them with love and to teach them values that will shape them into strong, compassionate adults. And that, my friends, is truly one of the greatest gifts we can give. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. What are some moments where you've noticed a shift in your approach with kids? Maybe a time when patience or understanding made all the difference. Please share in the comments below. I love hearing your stories. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more advice and tips. Together, we can keep learning, growing, and making the world a better place for our kids and grandkids. Here's to making a positive impact, one moment at a time.